Hello there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games. Today we are talking about the Switch 2 and the potential of a reveal happening in the second half of October. I think a lot of us have been expecting some sort of reveal this month after the debacle that was September, where once again a lot of us expected the reveal to be in September, and that did not happen. So naturally a lot of us jumped ship to Team October. Well, October's weird because we're already halfway through it. We have the Switch playtest in just a couple of days, and I'll do videos on that when we find out what that is, hopefully on a Sunday or Monday. But when it comes to Switch 2, it feels really quiet. It feels really quiet when it comes to, insiders kind of teasing things. Even fake leaks have felt a little bit more quiet this month in comparison to other months this year. So I would say the vibes feel a little off, but also I'm going to remain optimistic. Now, something did happen late last night / earlier this morning that I do find a little interesting. I do think this is fake, though. I will say that. First and foremost, we had a 4chan leak. Oh my goodness, I know 4chan. We got to talk about 4chan in this video. We had a post from 4chan that I do think is at least worth looking into. Let's talk about it. Alrighty folks, a good Friday evening, a little bit of a later upload today. If you missed it, I did post 2 videos yesterday, but I took them down out of fear of Pokemon Company because I was covering the Pokemon X and Y leaks that came out yesterday and the night before, but I decided to take those down. I decided not to risk it, so that's why you didn't get a regular upload from me on the channel yesterday. But today I want to talk more about the Switch 2. October is rapidly coming to a close, and we really, like I said, have not really had that many hints, it feels like, from insiders and from like just fake leaks or even real leaks, hopefully. So it's a little weird, right? Like, I want to remain optimistic, but also it doesn't really feel like the smoke is there for there to be something happening. Now, granted, back in October 2016, while yes, once again there, we all kind of expected it to happen in September or October back then. If I recall, it really wasn't until like that very week that we started hearing from insiders like Emily Rogers that, the reveal would happen in a couple days from there. So it's not impossible that whenever the Switch 2 happens, let's say it happens next week, it's not impossible we don't hear about it until Monday next week and it happens on Thursday. Like, that is a possibility. But I wanted to take a look at this 4chan leak because I've seen a lot of people talking about it on Twitter today because they seemingly guessed something in the leak. However, that's not true, and I've seen some people misconstruing that. But you know me, even when I can acknowledge that a leak is almost certainly fake, it's still kind of fun to read through, right? Like, read through some fan fiction about the Switch 2. So we're gonna read this first here, and then we have something else to talk about in the second half of the video. So a user on 4chan posted this late last night. They said, "Don't ask how I know this, but Switch 2 is being revealed next Wednesday." So that would be Wednesday the 23rd, I believe, or the 22nd. Yeah, that'd be on the 23rd. They say it's literally just called Nintendo Switch 2. It's apparently a 3-minute video showing off the new system. First game you see for the system is a brand new Mario Kart game. The game has characters from Zelda, F-Zero, Star Fox, Pikmin as new racers, has 8-player split screen mode, a new look at Metroid Prime 4 Beyond showing playable Psylux and a multiplayer mode, that's crazy, a remake of Kid Icarus Uprising, there's tiny peeks at a new 3D Mario and Animal Crossing game, shows a bunch of third-party games including Monster Hunter Wilds and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. System releases in, air quotes, May, sometimes around Golden Week in Japan, same month as Super Nintendo World opening in Orlando, that's the important part, and then they say full reveal in January or February. Now, all of that, taking it at face value, doesn't sound like that crazy. I would say, like, okay, Mario Kart 10 being a weird crossover Smash Bros style thing, that's not that unexpected. I think a lot of people could predict that. It also, I think, kind of raises like a fan wish list, though. Like, you're mentioning Star Fox, why not mention, I don't know, any other franchise, really? But, this leak is following the 3-minute video that we had with the 2016 Switch reveal. It follows that similar template where we have a couple first-party games, some major third-party things. As much as I would love to see Dragon Ball Sparking Zero in the trailer for the Switch 2, I don't think that really makes sense, because whatever games are going to be in this presentation would have been set and planned months ago. I'm just not sure if Nintendo would want something like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero to appear in the reveal trailer for their console, because then you have all this weird licensing stuff with Shueisha and Toei, and it's not just like Monster Hunter Wilds. Like, that's just a Capcom thing. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, it's a way more complicated thing to have that in the reveal trailer. But the interesting thing here, the reason people were actually looking into this 4chan post and kind of reading into it and believing it to a little bit of a degree, is that they said the system is going to release in May, which is the same month as Super Nintendo World opening in Orlando. Now, what's weird about that is Nintendo did not officially announce that Super Nintendo World would be opening in Orlando until today. So this 4chan post was last night. The Nintendo of America tweet announcing it was this morning. They say here, big news, May 22nd, 2025. 2025, Super Nintendo World, one of 5 immersive worlds at Universal Epic Universe theme park, officially opens at Universal Orlando Resorts. So they have this nice new image here. It's cool, right? Like that's interesting. This 4chan post comes out, they say that Super Nintendo World is opening in May, and then the next day we get the confirmation from Nintendo. And a lot of people think that means that this 4chan post, whoever posted it, has some sort of inside information. And naturally, that makes sense, right? However, it doesn't make sense, because before that 4chan post was made, we actually did already know this. Even before Nintendo officially announced it themselves, Universal Orlando Resort on YouTube did post this opening date revealed video yesterday morning. And in this video, you see, your Harry Potter, your other stuff that's going to be there, but you also see Mario and Donkey Kong, showing that Nintendo World will be there the same day as everything else, and they say May 22nd, 2025. So while I would love for this 4chan leak to be real, I would love to believe that it is happening next Wednesday. I just think the one reason people were believing it, you can't really look at, because we knew yesterday morning that this date was true for Super Nintendo World Orlando. So unfortunately, I have to say, on the fake scale, I think this 4chan post is, I think it's pretty dang fake. However, there's some cool ideas here, right? A remake of Kid Icarus Uprising, I mean, I would love that so much. I made a video talking about the Bandai Namco thing a couple days ago, and I think Kid Icarus Uprising may be one of the games that was canceled, but Kid Icarus Uprising, as cool as it is, that's not something you really show in the reveal for a new console, I think. Kid Icarus Uprising, as much as we love it as hardcore Nintendo fans, is not a system seller, or not a system seller in that way, not in the way that Mario Kart or Splatoon or Animal Crossing is, not even Metroid Prime 4, frankly, which also maybe isn't a system seller, I think, at least based on historical precedents. Kid Icarus Uprising only sold like 1 million copies on 3DS, whereas you look at Mario Kart, Animal Crossing, Splatoon, 3D Mario, Zelda, these games sell tens of millions of copies. Kid Icarus Uprising is extremely niche, so that's why this entire thing kind of reads as like a fan wish list to me. Mario Kart 10 having Zelda, F-Zero, Star Fox, and Pikmin as racers, like that's fair. I think that's totally fine. Definitely still comes off as a little, fan wish listy. However, I do think that it's definitely possible as a direction they take for the next game. I'm not sure if I necessarily want that. I'm just saying I think it is definitely possible. They say here it has 8-player split screen mode. That sounds like a disaster. If it was 8-player like local multiplayer, sure, but 8-player split screen mode, imagine playing that on like a smaller TV. That would be absolute hell. So I think that's just a bad idea. Playable Silux and a multiplayer mode for Prime 4 Beyond, I mean, maybe, I don't really know. Tiny peaks at a new 3D Mario and Animal Crossing, that's fine. I mean, that's what we saw with the Switch reveal back in 2016. We saw tiny peaks at Splatoon 2 and 3D Mario. And then a bunch of third-party games, including Monster Hunter Wilds and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I mean, yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds, I've been saying, will probably be in this thing. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, though, I'm way more hesitant to believe that. As much as I love Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and as much as I love Dragon Ball, and it'd be cool to see Dragon Ball pop up in a Switch 2 reveal, I just don't know if that necessarily makes sense, given all the ownership stuff with that game. And also, like I said, this trailer would have been finalized probably months ago, at least what games were going to be in it. And Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, while we knew it was going to be a big success, this feels like it was written very recently, and they're like, okay, well, what games are popular right now? What games are people excited for? Here's an old game with Sparking Zero that just came out. Here's a future game with Monster Hunter Wilds that has a release date. Sparking Zero being the massive success it is, even though people expected it to be very successful, we didn't expect it to be as successful as it is, if that makes sense. So I just don't know if that would have been part of the reveal event. Maybe the bigger event in like January, February. I think that's when they announced Xenoverse 2 in 2017 and like a sizzle reel. But in the reveal trailer, the 3-minute trailer where your time is very precious, I just don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, unfortunately, as much as I want this 4chan post to be real, I'm gonna have to put a big fat fake stamp on it, as much as I would like to believe that the Switch 2 is being announced next Wednesday alongside Mario Kart, Kid Icarus. We're seeing more Metroid, we're seeing 3D Mario and Animal Crossing, we're seeing Monster Hunter and Dragon Ball on Switch 2. Like, that would be great. I just don't think it's real because, like I said, we already knew that the Nintendo World was opening in Orlando before this 4chan post was made. And I've just seen a lot of misinformation going around about that, where people are like, well, actually, this 4chan post was made before Nintendo announced it. Yeah, it was made before Nintendo announced it. It wasn't made before we knew the date, though, which is that's the very important thing, the very important piece of that puzzle that I do think makes this very fake. With that being said, though, there was something else that came out a couple days ago that had the internet going crazy, which is hilarious because it is literally someone tweeting just the words Switch 2. However, I think there actually could be something to this. So Dr. Sirkin Toto, if you're not familiar with him, he is an industry analyst for Kanton Games, I believe. And this guy's been around for a very long time, even back during the NX days. But recently, in the past couple of years, he's really toned it back. However, when he does tweet something, it usually has led to something happening in the very, very near future. So what he tweeted, and I'll just get this out of the way now, is he just tweeted in quotations, Switch 2 on October 15th. That's all he tweeted, and that's all it took to get the internet going crazy over this man's tweets. However, Sirkin Toto kind of has a history of doing tweets like this and kind of teasing announcements that are coming in the near future. Now, from my perspective, it kind of just feels like he's saying, like, yeah, that's the name of the console or something, or that's what he wants it to be named, or something along those lines. That's why it's in quotations. However, like I said, he has a history of doing this. If you look back, I believe it was E3 2021, and he has taken these tweets down. However, people made articles about it. There were Reddit posts about it back then. Back then, right before E3 2021, he tweeted something along the lines teasing that Tears of the Kingdom, or Breath of the Wild 2 at the time, would be releasing in 2022. And then at E3, they announced it was releasing in 2022. Now, obviously, it got delayed, but he was teasing before E3 that year that he knew, like, hey, it's coming out in 2022. At the time, that was accurate. Then, just late last year, around the same time, actually, he tweeted out, I believe, ZR 2023, and a lot of people thought that R meant a remake. A lot of people thought that was going to be, like, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess remakes being announced at the Game Awards or something. I think I might have covered that back then, actually. No, it wasn't that. Surprisingly, a week or two later, after he tweeted out ZR 2023, Nintendo announced the Zelda movie. Now, I personally do not believe that's a coincidence that he would tweet that like a week before or 2 weeks before, and then at that point we get the reveal of the Zelda movie, because that's something that, like, no one was expecting to be announced that at that time frame. Like, there was no speculation like, oh, a Zelda movie's getting announced within the next month or so. So for him to tweet that and then for that to happen, to me, tells me that he did have some sort of information that there was a major Zelda announcement happening within the coming weeks at the time of that tweet. So while, yes, I do think it is a little bit goofy to be losing our minds over a tweet that just says Switch 2, I don't think it's that unreasonable given this person's track record. Now, his track record overall is a little bit more spotty, I guess, depending on how you look at it. Back in 2022, before the Booster Course Pass was announced for Mario Kart, he was actually one of the people saying that Mario Kart 9 was coming and it has this new twist and it was going to be announced, I think, that year. Or like that, maybe that was part of his speculation. And obviously that was wrong, but then we still got the Booster Course Pass like a few weeks later, so I think maybe there was some misinformation there. But yeah, it's very interesting. I want to believe that this is a direct tease and that, you know, given the timelines for the Breath of the Wild 2 thing and then for the Zelda movie thing, where he tweeted those out and then they were announced, I really hope we're seeing a similar thing here where this is the starting point, right? Switch 2, October 15th, 2024. And then, you know, a week, 10 days later, 12 days later, whatever the exact timing is, we get the reveal of the Switch 2. I think that is very possible. I wanted to include it because I know I saw a lot of people talking about it, and I'm not sure exactly what to make of it. I want to believe it, though. I really want to believe that this is a tease and not just him, you know, blowing smoke into the ether, as so many insiders and so many people have done over the past year, you know, with people posting eye emojis and obviously trying to tease, and then the teasing doesn't work, and then they kind of just, you know, get off scot-free. This is just a tweet. We can't look at too much into it, but also, I really hope this actually does mean something. It does mean a reveal for this console is imminent, because, man, I'm tired of it. As you all know, I'm tired of it. I just want to see the console and mostly see the game so we can start talking about the games and analyzing the games and just get this whole reveal thing over with, Nintendo. Oh my goodness. Like I've said in videos this past month, I do think revealing it before November 5th just makes the most sense. That is when their investor meeting is. If it is releasing in the first half of 2025, I think they kind of have to announce it by November 5th. I guess if it's releasing in June, then they could announce it in January, but I really don't think a May or even June release for the console makes that much sense to begin with. I mean, we were talking about the 4chan post, and they said it releases in May. May's possible, I guess, but we just don't have that much of a track record for a May release. I really do think if it's releasing in the first half of next year, March or April makes the most sense. I lean towards March because March is right before the fiscal year ends. They get their sales up. It looks really good for investors, but also maybe you can look at it the inverse where they're like, okay, we want to start the next fiscal year with a big bang, right? Like in early April, we have this new console and it does really well. That's when they released the GBA, I believe, at least in America, or maybe that was in Japan. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I mean, I can see the argument for March or April on either side of that fence. Any other month in the first half of the year just does not make too much sense to me. Like I said, maybe May, but I think March or April would be the best fits. I mean, that's just replicating what they did with the Switch, and I think that would be the smartest route for them. But the point is, if it is releasing that early, they need to announce it by November 5th. I don't think they can announce it in January and release it in March. They technically could, right? We saw them shadow drop Alarmo the other day, so nothing's off the table, I guess. But I just think you need a little bit more marketing for a new console with new games that we know nothing about. Even if Metroid Prime 4 is one of those games, we need to see that 3D Mario game, that Mario Kart game, so they can really start marketing it and getting people excited over the coming months leading up to the release in hopefully March or April. But yeah, as always, I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think of this 4chan post? I do think it is fake, but I would like to hear what you guys think as well. And what do you think of this Dr. Sirkan Toto tweet? Do you think he's teasing something, or do you think it's just another case of an insider or analyst kind of just trying to throw something out there? Maybe if it does get announced, he'd be like, oh, I was teasing that. Now, if nothing happens, he can just say, oh, I was just, tweeting something for fun. I would like to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. And are you still optimistic for a reveal happening in the next 2 weeks? I am remaining optimistic. I'm going to try to remain optimistic. Of course, like I said at the beginning of the video, we still have the Switch Online playtest happening next week. And actually, that's interesting as well because we just got Banjo-Tooie on Switch Online like late last night, which I really was not expecting to happen so soon to this playtest. So that's interesting. But we have that next week, so maybe next week isn't going to be the week. But I was saying earlier this month, I think, what would it be? Like, I think it was the 29th or the 30th of October. Somewhere in there, I think I could see making the most sense for a reveal. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch 2 news, reviews, discussions, all that fun stuff, speculation, as you all know, as you all can come to expect from me. Of course, subscribe here for more of that. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Check out my other channel at It's Amiibo. And until next time, folks, peace.